I need a fucking tripod for this. Up 357. Missing. Decided to grab a bite. Another loud Waffle House with nobody in it. Just get to watch me eat before I go home. Head over to Rumble, if you don't mind. What's up, friends and codes? Waffle House Live. It's dead in here. It's fucking dead in here.
For this task were hand-picked, seasoned experts from each of the contributing agencies.
Yeah, handpicked by you and John Brennan, Punk, as you were organizing this coup. And how did everybody get this little 17 intelligence agencies memo and all regurgitate it like the copy and pasters that they are? And doesn't it follow the same pattern that we saw with Joe Biden and the 51 intelligence agents all signed on to this letter? Like, they love throwing those numbers around, like 100 climate scientists said so. You're like, I don't care about those morons. Same thing happened here. And turns out they're liars. So the 17 intelligence agencies was all fake.
These conclusions were reached based on the richness of the information gathered and analyzed, and were thoroughly vetted and then approved by the directors of the three agencies and me. And there were only three agencies that directly involved in this assessment, plus my office.
But all 17 signed on to that.
Well, we didn't go through that process. But I knew to be that who could really contribute to this and the sensitivity of the information. We decided with conscious judgment to restrict it to those three.
17 agencies, all in agreement, which I know from my experience as a senator and secretary of state is hard to get. They concluded with high confidence.
No, they didn't.
The Russians
and that was fake, by the way. Remember, the high confidence label should have been described. There's criteria for that. It's not just high confidence because John Brennan had a good bowel movement that morning. It requires more than that. You have to have other indicia. In this case, high confidence means it's corroborated by multiple sources. They didn't have anything like that.
And an extensive information war campaign against my campaign.
Never happened.
To influence voters.
They held back on you, Hillary.
In the election.
Yeah, when then President-elect Trump was briefed on this on the 6th of January, there were four of us, meaning the directors of NSA, FBI, and CIA, and myself. That's all. And we explained who did the report. So how this narrative got out there about 17 components being involved, I don't know.
17 of our intelligence agencies.
17 of our intelligence agencies. There's 17 intelligence agencies. Liars,
17
liars,
different
liars,
United
liars.
States intelligence agencies.
17 agencies, all in agreement.
How this narrative got out there about 17 components being involved, I don't know.
Yeah, because you have no intelligence, idiot. So he has no idea how that happened because he doesn't know anything. He's just the director of national intelligence. Oh. And now he has to come back and walk it back when he's under congressional inquiry because he knows that was a lie. So they're liars. They're getting caught with their hands in the lying jar, and everybody can see it. John Ratcliffe also celebrating this before we get into the report. He said, the CIA and DOJ's declassification of this appendix, along with DNI efforts, further advances Trump's directive for maximum transparency. And it fulfills Chuck Grassley's request for disclosure. And he sends a lot of those requests. We appreciate those. So we now have the drop in a press release from Chuck Grassley. We get our hands on the newly declassified appendix to the Durham report, which was brought by John Durham, who didn't do much of anything, sheds additional light on the Clinton campaign, and this should have been released to us from the beginning. The fact that this didn't means that John Durham, in my opinion, was part of the cover-up. Now, he might have justification for it, but the fact that we are just now seeing this, this is what the Durham report was supposed to be about. It was supposed to go find information about this so that we could get to the bottom of it back then when it mattered, and he didn't do that. He prosecuted Michael Sussman in a fake guinea
today, but the power went out at my house.
Institutions. The DOJ loves the FBI. They work together in their criminality. And so why would a special counsel, lifelong prosecutor, who Bill Barr appointed, who loves the DOJ no matter what, go out there and attack their own FBI agents in a Michael Sussman trial? It wasn't. They laid down the whole trial. And it happened in D.C., and nothing else came in the aftermath of that. So it was very disappointing. And now we get to see it finally, all this time later. Thank you, Chuck Grassley, and thank you, President Trump. Now, here is what we've got. Senate Judiciary Committee, Chuck Grassley, today is making public the formerly classified appendix called the Durham Annex to John Durham's 2023 Special Counsel Report. It wasn't very special at all. The unclassified report and the classified appendix form the entirety of the special counsel report, which we should now see. The Durham Annex contains previously classified information, exposing a report and a reported Clinton campaign plan to falsely tie Trump to Russia. Might have been good to know. The annex also goes into further detail on matters discussed in the unclassified report, specifically potential election influence by a foreign government regarding Hillary Clinton, false statements to the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, the FISA court, under applications for the warrant against Carter Page, who was on Trump's campaign. The FBI's failure under the leadership of 8647 Director James Comey, Mr. Beachman, to investigate intelligence that the Clinton campaign may have created the Russia collusion hoax. Didn't do it because it would have been devastating to her. Meanwhile, and he also was already covering up for her, saying that she was not grossly negligent, which would have led to criminal charges under the statute. Instead, he just scratched that out almost literally and wrote extremely careless. It's not gross negligence, it's extremely careless. Well, what's the difference, James? Well, the difference is one is indictable, the other is not. So and he just changed that for her convenience, and they're still mad at him after he bent over backwards to try to get her into power. But he didn't look into it, just like the DOJ didn't look into Hunter, just like it goes on and on and on, just like they weaponized themselves to go after Trump. Now, Attorney General Pam Bondi, the FBI, and Kash Patel have now declassified this. Thank you to Chuck Grassley's request, which included declassification of information by the CIA and the NSA. It's wild that they keep it classified when it's obviously detrimental to their side, and it would expose the entire facade, right? So you can't see it's classified. It's top secret. It's your evidence of criminality. Based on the Durham Annex, said Grassley, the FBI failed to adequately review and investigate reports showing the Clinton campaign was ginning up the Trump-Russia collusion for political gain. FBI didn't even investigate that at all. It's like, well, we kind of like her, so what? We will stop him, said Peter Strzok, who deleted all of his ex-posts because he's also nervous, which was ultimately done through the Steele dossier and other means. Grassley says, history will show that Obama and Biden were weaponizing the government against Trump, causing critical damage and wrecking institutions. And Grassley's done a great job. Now, here is what we call the Clinton campaign plan. This was an operative that worked. Large portions of the Democratic Party to this day still think the jabs, are amazing for their lives, still believe that Biden was perfectly capable, and still believe that Trump is in office due to the Russians. Like, their brains are so fried. First one's a big one. Trump stole the election. Hillary was saying it after the election. So here we have the Clinton campaign plan. All of this was created because she's the actual criminal who had to distract everybody with the shiny object over here, Trump-Russia collusion, to take people's eyes off of her emails that she deleted because she was engaging in other crimes. In 2016, the Obama administration obtained intelligence information from a source contained in two separate memos. One memo came from January 2016 and another one 2 months later in March. The two memos describe, quote, confidential conversations between then Democratic National DNC Chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who's a representative in Congress now, and another then Democratic National Committee Chair, and two individuals at the Soros Open Society Foundations called Leonard Bernardo and Jeffrey Goldstein. So Schultz, Bernardo, and Goldstein, three peas in a pod, all colluding to elect Hillary. In the process of utilizing the Obama administration to violate the law and weaponize the government against Trump. In January 2016, the memo, the first one, it noted in part that President Barack Obama intended to scuttle, we're going to read these, the FBI's investigation into Hillary's use of the private email server and the mishandling of her highly classified info. We also then, 2 months later in March, got another memo, and that included references to the same Obama effort to shut down the Clinton investigation, and then it was outlining the plan to falsely connect Trump to Russia way back in March. This is not the December 9th meeting, no. This is not the January 5th, 2017 ICA report. This is the March 2016 memo, as they were gearing up to try to take out Trump as the election was marching into October. The memo stated that the Democratic Party's opposition is focused on discrediting Trump. We'll read it. And there's more. And so let's just jump right into it. This is a nice summary of it, but let's get to the meat and potatoes. Here it is. Now declassified. Chuck Grassley and President Trump releasing this for us to review. It is the Durham Annex. Declassified, was hidden from public eyes for quite some time. Would have been useful to know what the Democrats were up to.
Your wrench is gone. Let me fix that.
So here's what this says.
Good to see you, Northwest.
On matters related to intelligence activities and investigations.
You pull it up and fix it.
This is the classified appendix from Durham. It says using this stuff, be careful, right? FISA, subject to FISA, disclosure, standards, things box. Got it. Now they write, here's the introduction. This is what we're talking about today. This classified appendix forms part of the
There you go.
report on matters arising out of the 2016 election. So it's classified of the Durham report. Got it. And it provides further information about matters covered in 3 sections of the report. One is about the investigative referral of a possible Clinton campaign plan that Hillary set up. Another section, which is about the threat of foreign election influence by foreign governments, and the Page FISA section. And they're giving us some good stuff here with a bunch of footnotes, and let's get to it. So here we got background. Beginning in or about 2000, Durham derived from somebody redacted and declassify V on some other redacted date. So he writes in the footnote, the OSC has carefully coordinated the classification review of this unclassified report and this document with the redacted. Based on that coordination, the redacted concurs with these classifications. Okay, so somebody else
Not an automatic
said you
wrench
can
on,
redact
Rumble,
these things or
come over to
classify
Rumble.
the
Get away.
document accordingly, like two people turning their keys. Now, They gained unlawful access, the Russians, to emails of numerous U.S. public and private entities, including government agencies, nonprofits, and think tanks based in the United States. The Russian hackers hacked the tubes. Among the nonprofit organizations hacked by the Russian government actors was the Soros Foundation. At the time, it was called the Open Society Foundations because Soros' name is garbage. Now, redacted. From redacted date through this date, so-and-so received from a blank source, referred herein as T1, like out of Terminator or something, and shared with the FBI intelligence consisting of redacted footnote 3, which we get no information from. All right, so they're citing basically back to certain interviews. This is an OIG report with an interview from someone else. So we can see they're just referencing kind of where they got these little bits of information from in the footnotes, so we don't need to spend a lot of time on them. We identify the information provided by the T1 as sensitive intelligence. Now, the sensitive intelligence included emails, redacted, showing how somebody was responsible for probably for the hacking of U.S.-based communications. And number 2, redacted reports analyzing the hacked U.S. materials. And 3, what appears or purports to be the original hacked emails of U.S. persons or portions of those emails for number 5, right? So we're going to get to some emails, and we're going to have questions about the emails, right? You're always asking about authenticity. They appear or they purport to be original hacked emails, or they're portions of those emails. 2 of the apparently hacked emails appear to have originated from the Open Society Foundations. The purported author of these emails was Leonard Bernardo, who was the regional director for Eurasia to the Open Society Foundations, footnote 6, referencing the other documents. Now, in that capacity, Bernardo oversaw efforts relating to Russia and the former Soviet republics, among other countries. And so beginning in this date, 2016, the FBI field office received information from T1, and that information was relating to the 2016 election, including this person's reports written by these people. Now, these reports reference purported communications of Bernardo, the George Soros Open Society dude. In particular, in this date, in this location in 2016, T1, the source, provided the U.S. government with 2-something memorandum that described confidential conversations that someone had between then Democratic National Committee Chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz and 2 individuals at the Open Society Foundations, referred to in the memo as the Soros Foundation. Now, this is John Durham in his appendix writing. Bernardo and Jeffrey Goldstein, who, according to public sources, was senior policy advisor for Eurasia at the Open Society Foundations, were in this communication. In the January date 2016 memo, which was in Russian, something like this. Okay, so Russian, maybe like Cyrillic. It was their, the font, the language that they write in. I don't know. It was in Russian, so maybe it's Russian intelligence. January memo got it from the Russia guy, so T1 might be, interfacing with the Russians. Let's see. Here's what they provide to us. Now, the reason I pause on this is because the response thus far is going to be to say this is fake. This is not real. Debbie Wasserman Schultz says it came from T1. It came from Russian intelligence. It was in Russian servers. It's redacted. Don't know what it is, but it's stated in relevant part the following. It's not what came from the Russians. It came from T1. Debbie Wasserman, I didn't do anything wrong. Leave me alone. And Hillary, same thing. And these 2 dudes, Bernardo and Goldstein, I'm sure they're going to be saying the same thing. No, it's like cobbled together. It's just a mishmash of other documents. It's like a game of telephone handed down, around and around we go. Because this is damning. This is what their purported email says. And this was good enough for John Durham to put in the report in the classified appendix and share with a bunch of the highest, most powerful people in the country who did nothing about it, never let anybody know. And they all should be held accountable for that as well. They should have told us this. On January 12th, this was the email, between Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the DNC chair, whose prime mission is to get Hillary Clinton elected and to defeat Trump, working with George Soros, a global billionaire who spends billions of dollars to wreck our country by hiring woke, crappy DAs like Fani Willis. And funding liberal causes to undermine the social order and the culture of our country. Well, they were working hand in glove to try to get this done. And so Debbie and these people, Bernardo, are sending these emails back and forth. On January 12th of this year, during a confidential discussion with Goldstein, this is in a memo, not an email, a representative of the Soros Foundation on Eurasia, Democratic National Committee chairwoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, characterized the situation in her party in light of the growing scandal around Hillary Clinton as follows. Debbie said, according to probably Russian intelligence that was passed on through T1, says information released to the media in the last few days about the FBI investigating possible corruption relating to the Department of State under the leadership of Clinton. Preferential treatment of donors of the Clinton Foundation caused a significant negative reaction inside the party. Now, at the same time, the leadership of the Democratic Party had known about the information since June 2015. But according to Wasserman Schultz, the DNC chair at the time, the FBI so far does not have persuasive evidence against Hillary Clinton because of the timely deletion of relevant data from mail servers. All of her criminality that she conducted on her email servers, which is why she got those email servers created for her so she could do that without public scrutiny, were deleted. How convenient is that? Obama has no intention, this is the memo, to darken the final part of his presidency and his legacy by the scandal surrounding the main contender from the Democratic Party. So to solve the problem, the president puts pressure on James Comey through Attorney General Lynch, however, so far without concrete results. Well, it's because Loretta Lynch hadn't met with Bill Clinton yet. Comey gravitates towards Republicans and apparently intends to prolong the investigation so that the scandal would keep going until the presidential election to jeopardize the chances of the Democratic Party to win the presidential race. And you could take that both ways. Right? There's some conversation that perhaps Comey was just trying to straddle the line at the moment, right? Maybe Trump is not going to be the nominee, so he's trying to be neutral. Then Trump's going to be the nominee, so then he goes all in on
You want a Coke or anything?
Obama. And they're
going to beat you guys.
right. Trump, Russia. So
Orange
Obama, right? So he's
slush.
kind of playing coy until
like
he's
it?
playing the political games because he's a cowardly man and he stands for nothing and has no choice. So he just decides, I'll pick the winner, doesn't like Trump, decides to align his ship over to Obama, and we know where it went. Now, the same memo, the other memo, the March memo, so this came from the January memo, memo 1. The other March memo, which again was in Russian, something came from somebody, and somebody validated, whatever, stated in relevant part the following. During confidential contacts on March 5th with Leonard Bernardo, Leonard Bernardo, and the Soros Fund, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the chairman of the DNC, she characterized, so they must have like her bugged, man. So the Russians got
Tuck and roll, hell yeah.
and Debbie bugged. They're listening to the conversations. Chairperson, she characterized the developments in the pre-election campaign of the Hillary Clinton in the following way. And somebody's typing this report up to Google. In relation to the consensus reached among the Democratic Party leadership regarding the candidacy of Hillary, Obama sanctioned the use of all administrative
It's definitely aerosol.
Just chill out, Soros people. You guys aren't going to be in trouble. Don't worry. None of your criminality, none of your scams that you were conducting with Hillary and the Soros and Clinton foundations, all that. It's all deleted. Just forget about it. We're running things here, okay? Just chill out. Keep your donuts coming. We're going to win. And that Obama is going to facilitate it, okay? He's going to remove possibly negative effects from the FBI investigation of cases related to the Clinton Foundation and the email correspondence with the State Department. And so based upon information from Wasserman Schultz, somebody in Russian is writing this, the FBI is not...
Take you guys with you. I'm going to go back into the car now.
Because of their timely deletion from the email servers, the political director of the Hillary Clinton staff, called Amanda Renteria, regularly receives information. She's not going to be prosecuted for her crimes on the plans and the intentions of the FBI. So she wasn't worried. Active work is being done. questioning potential witnesses who are mostly computer specialists in the Clinton private circle. So you're going to be fine. They're like in your private circle. No one's going to talk, so just chill out. They represent the only tools which may be used in this matter, okay? Therefore, the threat is minimal. Hillary's going to be fine. We'll cover it up for her. The media will be complicit. The DNC predicts a certain Clinton victory in the current presidential campaign. We saw that, man. Remember, I think it was like election night, like New York Times had it 92%. We watched all those speedometers go. They had a rough night. It was amazing. The impressive results of Donald Trump are dividing the Republican Party elite, which finds itself in near panic conditions. Man, we had panicants even back then. Freaking out about this. Trump won. And we had, some good feelings that he would, because there was an unspoken energy out there. And we knew how it was feeling. Good burp. But a two-pronged Democratic Party opposition, again, writing in Russian, to...
I don't think will this work if I do it sideways?
On discrediting Trump. Two-pronged Democratic attack factor, discrediting Trump.
I don't think I can see the chat anymore.
Based upon his weak points, such as his uncontrollable temperament, questionable incidents of business dealings, and the absence of diplomatic skills, lack of political experience, which is all those like, we love
I can't see the chat, guys, but that's okay. I will once I fire up the vehicle.
Doesn't act like a stupid diplomatic politician, and his lack of political experience means he's highly qualified.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, I love my glasses. They come running out too.
Scandalous revelation with support from, quote, special services. The words that FBI linguists translated as special services are Russian words that one analyst believed at the time referred to the FBI and the CIA, okay? The Clinton staff having the support of the, quote, special services is not Fusion GPS. It's not Mark Elias. It's Hillary Clinton and the CIA and or the FBI. And there it is. Special Services is preparing a scandalous revelation. So Clinton plus the FBI or CIA. Now the Russians translated it as Special Services, but that we know what that means. That's their Special Services. We have that. It's called the CIA, or more broadly, the intelligence and law enforcement communities. Now, another analyst caveating it, he's like, well, it may not be the CIA, right? He's like, it could be translated. Perhaps the phrase special services, the Russians have this intelligence, in this context could refer to Trump dossier author Christopher Steele. Could be Christopher Steele, right? He's special services. He's Fusion GPS, got hired from Mark Elias. Maybe it's him. According to media reports, Steele's own testimony in UK legal proceedings, he also formerly worked as a British, worked at MI6. In addition, the office has determined at the time of this memo that Glenn Simpson's firm, you remember him, Fusion GPS, was in fact preparing open source opposition research about Trump's purported ties to the Russian oligarchs, redacted. Yeah. So Fusion GPS, if you remember, was founded by Glenn Simpson and some other dude, I believe. And Glenn Simpson was hired by who? Mark Elias. And we remember Mark Elias worked for who? Perkins Coie. And Perkins Coie was hired by who? That's right, Hillary. Okay, so
no, I don't have that far to go.
Back from Hillary all the way down to Fusion, and they were just making crap up. They couldn't find it, as we're going to find out. Now, on March 31st, so it could be that. It could be Hillary's private people.
I'm going to go ahead and end this. I just want to do that for just the meal. Just check in with a few of you. Love you guys. I'll see you in the morning. No, I got about 20 minutes to home. Peace all.
Probably a Democrat friendly. And he kind of
love you guys. Appreciate you hanging out.
Michael Sussman was shot to the media.